Hello, everyone, and welcome back. This is a sad story. It's about Robert Cosby Jr. Um, he is the son of Mary Cosby. I believe she is on the reality show, The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. And this young man, her son, who was only 23, was found dead. Apparently had a drug overdose. I'll put a link to the article in the description for the video. But this is a heartbreaking story. A young man who, just getting going in his life, and this is the horrible side of substance use addiction, and this is just it's horrible. And every once in a while, we see this in our practice. Especially when we speak to a family who decides for whatever reason, not to move forward with getting their loved one into treatment. And then we speak to them 3 months later, 6 months later, and we find out that something tragic has happened. And, I take the work personally. I really do. And my heart breaks for that family and this one here in this article. But apparently, this young man it appears he'd been using, he was in the midst of getting divorced. And I guess it sounds like there was some type of restraining order placed against him. And the judge sent him to jail for 60 days, for 2 months. It says here, Robert, who was facing 14 charges, pled guilty to 8 of the charges in December, including felony property damage or destruction, violation of a pretrial protective order obtained by his estranged wife, Alexiana. She was 21, and criminal trespass on a dwelling with intent to cause annoyance, injury, or fear. And it sounds like the judge sent him to jail for 60 days. Now, obviously, while he was in jail, he wasn't using, but, I've talked about this before. When somebody comes to us and they're asking us to get a loved one into treatment and to finally end this nightmare, we tell them it's typically a year-long journey. Okay, that means 3 to 6 months, typically, of some combination of residential and partial hospitalization in a clinically appropriate treatment facility. And then you have to work the continuum of care. What does that look like? Well, you're going to meetings, you're getting a sponsor, you're living in a recovery residence, also known as a sober home. You become med compliant, you continue with outpatient services, and that hopefully gets to the year. Now, you don't get to the year and say, oh, good, I'm done. No problem, right? The idea is you develop the skill set so that you can maintain recovery forever. Okay, and we've been very blessed. I have many friends who are in recovery, many for 5, 10, 15, even 20 years. And without exception, they go to a meeting every week. Just a couple of months ago, my wife and I took a cruise. And on the ship, we looked at the daily activities. And every day there was a meeting on the ship. Amazing, right? So you can pretty much find a meeting wherever you happen to be. And so I think what happened here is he did 60 days. He wasn't using. He came out, and I think everybody thought, oh, he's fine. Well, look, he wasn't fine. I mean, first of all, there's great drugs in prison. I can tell you that for a fact, having spent plenty of time there visiting clients. But the point is that even if he had spent 60 days where he wasn't using, I got to believe he was not getting treatment. He just had no access to drugs. And so, this is what happens, right? I mean, and I tell this to families all the time. 30, 60, even 90 days is not really enough. I mean, 90 days is the minimum. 180 days is better. And things only get worse when you're dealing with a behavioral health issue like mental illness. So this is a sad situation. Now, there are options. If you have a loved one who's dealing with this issue. And I'm going to talk to you about that in a second. But, people say to me, Mark, you're in Florida. What good's that to me? This young man, I think, was in California. Well, how does that help him? I've been a very big advocate of coming to Florida for treatment. Why? Well, number one, we have really great treatment here. There's just a core group of facilities that we work with, but they're really, really good. And there are places I would send my own family member to, so I'm happy to refer yours to the same facility. And number two, we have laws here in Florida that are unique to Florida. Unique to Florida in that they will give you the control that you need out of what is typically an out of control situation. For instance, we can get your loved one picked up normally within a day, taken to a place where they can be assessed and stabilized. We can get a court order to send them to treatment for minimum 3 months and typically, 6 months. We can get a court order that says you have access to their medical records, you control their resources, where they live, who they spend time with. You can make sure they take their medications. You can take away their driver's license. You can have significant control over them, okay? And we're certainly open to having a conversation about how do we get somebody here. Okay, there's a number of ways to get them here. I'm not going to go into it in this video, but we can get them here, usually. So Florida's a great place to come. But if we're not, if let's say that you said to yourself, okay, Florida sounds like it could be a great place, beautiful weather, all that stuff, but what are my options in terms of, in terms of getting my loved one in recovery? What can I own? What are my options here? Well, I think there's a couple. Number one, you could do nothing, just absolutely nothing. And like any disease, it's progressive and it will ultimately kill your loved one. And I don't mean to be blunt, but if you've watched any of my other videos, I'm not going to sugarcoat this for you because it's really serious stuff and people die. So I'm telling you, if you do nothing, in all likelihood, it will progress and it will take your loved one and it'll destroy your family with it. So you can do nothing. Number two, you can allow the state to step in. What do I mean by that? I mean, the state can step in one of two ways. They can step in through the criminal justice system, like what happened to this young man. The state stepped in. They locked him up. They charged him with certain crimes. They prosecuted him. That's the state stepping in through the criminal justice system. Or the state can step in through the mental health system. Right here in Florida, we have the Baker Act. Every state that I'm aware of has a version of the Baker Act, which is a statute that authorizes the state to basically grab somebody when there's a mental health crisis. So that's the second way the state can step in. Or the other option is you step in. You, the family, make the commitment of time, energy, and money, and you make the decision to save your loved one because they can't make it. Their brain has been kidnapped. If they could make the decision to save themselves, they would. They simply can't do it. And so, are you willing to make that decision? I can't tell you what to do. I can give you options. My team can give you options. But ultimately, it's up to you what you wish to do. And so, if you want to have a conversation about coming to Florida, getting your loved one into treatment, taking control of an out-of-control situation, and ending this nightmare, let's have a conversation. If you have any comments or questions, or you disagree with me, or you agree with me, I'd like to hear from you, as long as we keep it respectful. If there's an issue in your family that you are seeing, let me know. I'll make a video for you, because if it's affecting your family, it's probably affecting somebody else's, and it's really important to me. And the reason I make these videos for you is so you can get the information you need so you can figure out how you can save your loved one, right? That's the whole point here. So please post. I enjoy interacting with you. If you like this content, please give me a thumbs up. And if you want more of this content, which I put out usually at least once a day, if not twice a day, subscribe to the channel. And I appreciate you tuning in. I'm sorry about this young man, very sad. Please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.